Hi. Oh, sorry. I have to give Angelique. Okay. Haley, you have paper? I have paper up here if you need. Number 15. What is the correct way to express this using scientific notation? So remember scientific notations, you put that decimal after the first digit. Okay. So in this case, if that decimal is right here, you would have had to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 places. Okay. So 2.53 times 10 to the power of 7. So this one right here. Okay. For those who weren't here yesterday, remember when you bubble in the Scantron sheet for the final exam, make sure you use a pencil and bubble it, fill the whole thing in like that. Okay, and number 16, box plot. So this, some of you said you were still having trouble with this. Okay, remember in a box plot there were 5 numbers, minimum, maximum. What is this number right here? Median. Yeah, so Q2 or median. Okay, then this is Q1. Okay, we can also call that lower quartile. And this one, Q3, also known as upper quartile. Okay, so this is basically the median between here and here. Q3 is the median between Q2 and the max. So based on this box plot, Naomi received a mark of 76 on at least one math test. So that's not it. Remember, we can't. Oh, wait. The box plot shown below illustrated for the school year. Which of the following must be true? Oh, sorry. Naomi received a mark of 76 on at least one math test. Yes. So for this one, you could have multiple answers. Which of the following statements? Okay, so you could have more than one. You see this maximum right here? Maximum right here is 88. So her maximum mark was 88. So yes, this is true. The mean mark is 84. Now remember when we analyze this, box plot is based on median, so not mean. So this is not it. Okay. Naomi wrote exactly 5 math tests during the school year. So that's not it. A box plot, you could have like 100 different numbers, okay? And it would still look the same like this. So we don't know how many she wrote. And then at least half of Naomi's math test marks are 84 or higher. So half. So remember, how many percent is each of these sections? 25%. So each of these sections is 25% of the marks. So 25, 25. And so this is true because 50% of the marks is 84 or higher. So this is true. So when they say at least half, it means 50%. 50%. Okay, which is this part right here. Okay. And number 17, draw arrows to connect 2 of these terms to the corresponding position in the following equation to make it equivalent. So what do you want to do? Okay, distribute it first. Distribute it. So you have 12x squared plus 15x. You have to distribute this negative as well. It's like it's -1. So -1 times 8x, -8x. -1 times 5, -5. Simplified, these two because they're like terms. So 12x squared plus 7x minus 5. So what goes here? With. So that's on the actual EQAO. That's why other than just the multiple choice, you'll also have these drag and drops. Okay. So those two. Number 18, the graph below shows the volume of gas remaining in the two machines. Okay, so machine A started off with 45, and then after 6 hours, it's empty. Machine B started out with 30 gallons of gas, and then after 8 hours, it's empty. So which two are true? And read the question carefully. They tell you two, so make sure you don't highlight just one. Make sure you don't highlight just three. Okay. Machine A runs out of gas before B. Yep, it was out after 6 hours. So this is true. Machine A and B start with the same amount of gas. So no, they don't start at the same point. So nope, not it. The two machines never have equal volume of gas at the same time. So so this intersection point, they do cross. What does this point mean? If you were to put it in a complete sentence, we had an assignment on this. Sean? Which is perfect, right? So their point of intersection right here is the coordinate is 4 and 15, which means after 4 hours, the unit, they both have 15 gallons left. Okay, so remember we had a whole assignment on this with the bike rental. Yeah, bike rental. So same idea. That's what the intersection point means. Right? And then, so that's not it. Machine A consumes gas at a greater rate than machine B. So when it says greater rate, what are we referring to? Steepness of the line, the slope, the steepness. Perfect. So is line A steeper than line B? Yeah. So it is. And also out of elimination, you had to highlight 2. So it means that it's probably this one. Okay. 19. Oh, this one is worded so weird. So the radius of Earth is 5.3% greater than Venus, and then Mars is the radius of Mars is this. What is the Earth's radius? Okay, so the fact that it says greater than, so I think a lot of you guys knew to change this to a decimal. So some of you did 0.785, which is great. It's great. You know how to change this. But if you times it by 0.785, you're saying it's smaller. But this is saying it's greater. So just like tax, when you have to add on to it, you don't just times it by 0.785, you times it by 1.785. So that it's the greater. Just like tax. When you calculate that 13% tax, you have to add it onto the original amount. So same thing right here. So 3389.5 times it by 1.785. 3389.5 times 1.785. You get 6,050.26. Okay, and then it's also 5.3% greater. If this was a decimal, what would this be? 0. 0.053 because it's 5%, not 50%. So because again it's greater, that means I'm gonna times it by 1.053. Right? So when you times it by 1.053, you get 6370.9 kilometer. Okay, looking at this, rounding it to the whole number, it would be this one. Okay. Number 20. So, Anjali, you want to make sure you're copying these down. Okay. What is the measure of x in the following diagram? Okay, so I think now you guys are really good at finding the arc. So, good job. This is my arc right here. So if this is my arc, that means this is my inscribed angle, and this is my inscribed angle. So that means this is 60. This triangle, 180. Hello, minus 80, minus 60. Oh, so that is minus 80, minus 60, 40. 15. Yes. Miss Chang? Oh, Mr. Chang, no. I don't know who. I think you got the wrong one. Okay. Number. And the office calls. I would think the office has the more accurate information. Okay. The line y equals negative 5x plus 4 is reflected on the x-axis. So let's say something like this. Okay, so originally your line looks like this. If it's reflected in the x-axis, so it's reflected here, that means your line now looks something like this. Okay, so what changed? What changed? From that blue line to the red line. So this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. After you flipping it, this one had a negative slope. When you reflect it, this line has a positive slope. Positive slope. Okay. Everything else is the same. Same y-intercept, same steepness, but it's just the slope. So after the reflection, what are the coordinates of the y-intercept of the new line? So it stays the same. This point is. Wait. Did I do this wrong? Yes, I did. It is negative 4, right? Sorry. My bad. It has a positive slope, but also, yes, it's reflected. So instead of 4, where is the new intercept? Negative 4. Yeah. So this is now here. This stays the same. The x-axis, the x. There we go. Yeah, so my bad. So the x-intercept would stay the same, but the y-intercept, because it's reflected on the x, think of it like it's the mirror image, it's now at negative 4. Okay. So this is a good question because they could have asked a lot of different things. Do a quick little sketch and then reflect it. The question could have asked, what is the y-intercept, or what is the x-intercept, or what's this new slope, and so forth. So, there you go. Okay. What? By the way, what is the slope of this line? Anyone know? What is the slope of this red line? 5. Good. All right, it was -5. After you reflect it, it would be +5. All right, so this is a good question. There's the other one that we did in class as well was rotation. Remember rotating? So then it would be negative reciprocal slope because it rotated 90 degrees. Okay. Moving along. Okay, this one is tricky. This one was tricky. So, set value 1 to -1. So what they did was, okay, they want these numbers to be displayed, but they're gonna give a value of -1. So this is value 1. And then your next one would be this right here, a second value. This is value 2. Okay? And then what it's gonna do with those two numbers is they're gonna add it together. So when you add it together, what do you get? -1 plus 1, you get the 0. Okay, and they're gonna call this next. Okay, they're gonna display next, which is they displayed the 0, and then because they're looping it 30 times, so they're now gonna reset those values. So now the value 2, V2, they're now gonna call V2 V1, and they're gonna call next, and then they're gonna call next value 2. Value 2. And then they loop it again. They do the same thing. Add these two up. 1 plus 0. They get this. Okay? And then they loop it again, going over the same thing. And then 1 plus 1, they get the 2. 1 plus 2, they get the 3. 2 plus 3, they get the 5, and so forth. So this is the order of this code. Okay. I think this one was pretty obvious. So the first few lines is usually setting variables, defining your variables. And then when I went around yesterday, I think it was these two that people got confused with. Okay. So I guess your hint is, notice here it says display next. Well, you need to know the value of next before you can display it. So then this is where they calculate it. So they calculate next, and then they display it. Okay. 23. Select all of the following sets of numbers that includes 0. Okay, so remember the real number system? All the real numbers. Okay. You have the irrational numbers and rational numbers. Inside rational numbers are integers and integers, and then you also have your whole number. And did I mix it up? Did I mix up the order? I think right. And then natural numbers. And then natural numbers. Okay. So select all of the following sets that includes 0. So is 0 an integer? Is 0 a natural number? No. Is 0 a irrational number? Nope. Is 0 a real number? There you go. Alright, so those two. Okay. Okay. 20. Some of you was tricked with this question. Right? So a lot of you guys knew to divide up this composite figure into two shapes. So you have your area for this, and then you have the area for this rectangle. Okay. So for this one, I know the length and width is just 3x by 6x plus 8. But then for this one, I know the width is x, but I don't know how long this is. Well, if I know that this top length is 6x plus 8, and I know that this is x plus 4, I can subtract it to get that. So this length right here is 6x plus 8. Take away x plus 4. Take away x plus 4. But what's wrong with what I wrote right here? Before that, even just this line right here, what I wrote, where do I need to put the brackets around? Sorry? Where do I need to put the bracket around? The x plus 4. This right here is one whole term. If I don't put the bracket around the x plus 4, I'm going to get a positive 4 instead of a negative 4. So I need brackets around both of this because this is one whole thing. This is one whole thing. Okay. I could put a bracket around that 6x plus 8 as well, but this, yeah, let's make it look nicer. Okay. Now that I have this negative applies to the 4 as well. Okay, so you have 6x plus 8 minus x minus 4 minus x minus 4. So when you collect like terms right here, you have 4x and that's it, 4x. Okay, so this length right here is 4x. This is x. So if I want to find the area of the whole thing, I have 3x times 6x plus 8 plus x times 4x. Okay, for the composite area. Distribute again. Distribute. So I have 18x squared plus 24x plus 4x squared. Combine the like terms. 22x squared plus 24x. So your answer, C. Okay. This question would have taken you 2 minutes. Okay. So, okay, if it didn't, good for you. If it took you 2 minutes, that means you need to hurry up with the other ones. Because remember yesterday we said try to aim for a minute a multiple choice question. All right. Well, for EQAO, actually for EQAO, first part is only 27 multiple choice questions, so you can spend 2 minutes per EQAO question. Yeah. You have 1 hour to do 27 multiple choice type question. Yeah. So you have 2 minutes each. Yeah. But then for the final exam, remember it's 1 minute each. Okay. What is the equation of the line shown? My y-intercept, -8. My slope, let's find 2 points that are nice and neat. So I'm going to choose this one because it's right on the grid. So what's my rise? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is my rise 8? Why not? Sorry? Yeah, but I was just counting the boxes. Look at the scale. It's up by 2. So I'm actually doing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So my rise is 16. What about my run? What's my run? 6. Yep. Again, look at your scale. Don't just count the boxes. Each box could be worth 100, right? So make sure you look at your scale. So your slope here, 16 over 6. But can we reduce that? Yeah, 8 over 3. Okay, so writing it into y equals mx plus b form, y equal 8 over 3x minus 8. All right, wait a minute, how come it's not here? What format is this called? Slope-intercept form. And what are these for? Standard. Yeah, some of these are in standard form. So it doesn't mean that you did something wrong. They just represent it in a different way. So let's try to turn this into standard form. Multiply everything by 3. Multiply everything by 3 because we have the denominator here. So 3 times y, 3y. 8 times 3 divided by 3, 8x. 3 times 8, negative 24. Right? Do we see this answer? Nope, not yet. So let's keep moving it. Move this over so that it's in standard form. When you move this over, you get negative 8x plus 3y equals negative 24. Okay, yeah, and then they want to make your life even more miserable by having you do one more step. Okay, so I see similarity. I see it's really close. So I see the negative 8, I see the 8x, I see the 3y, I see the 24, but the sign are not the same. Since this is an equation, I could multiply everything by negative 1 to change the sign. So then this is 8x minus 3y equals positive 24. I can change the sign if it's an equation by multiplying everything by negative 1. And so now this matches. Okay. If you think this is confusing, another way you could do is instead of going from the line to finding your answer, you could go from your answers and then rearrange it to see if you get this line. So for example here, given this, I could change this into y equals mx plus b form. So move the 8x over and then divide everything by negative 3. So then I get y equals 8 over 3x minus 8, which is what we have right here. Okay, so then once you get that, I know that my y-intercept is negative 8, rise 8 over 3, I get the same answer. Okay, so so with these type of questions, you could go both ways. You could either figure out the equation of the line given and then look for your answer, or use your answer, put it into slope-intercept form, and then see which one matches your line. Either way works. Whichever way you think it's easier. I don't like this question because it's so easy to make a mistake, even though you know what to do. And it's like careless mistakes. Okay. Okay, keep going. Which of the following correlation coefficient would indicate the weakest linear relation between the two variables? Okay, so correlation coefficient. What's another word for that? Correlation coefficient. You can think of it as just slope. Okay, think of it as the slope. So, a weak slope means a flat slope. Okay, so not steep. So weak means not steep. So in a What's the flattest slope you can have? Sorry? Yeah? 0, right? So m equals 0 is a horizontal line. So you want a slope that is closest to 0. So in this case, looking at these numbers right here, which number is closest to 0? This one. Right, so closest to m equals 0. So that's why I don't like EQAO as well, because they throw in these words that like they just decided to throw it in. Correlation coefficient. We never use that in real life, but they just throw it in. Okay. And it's not in any of the resource book either. So Remy plans to invest $1,000 for 3 years using one of the following interest calculation option. Simple interest. What's the formula for simple interest? Perfect. What's the formula we use for compound interest?
Bracket. No, I bracket. I don't know. Bracket.
P.
P bracket 1 plus I bracket square. Do you have to memorize that? T and N.
Yeah. Yes, you do have to memorize these two. Right? So select the 2 true statements below. Option 1 earns the greater amount of interest. Okay, so yeah, we actually have to calculate it. So option 1, simple interest at a rate of that. So I equals P R T. I equals, the principal was 1,000. The rate, what's my rate?
2.8%.
Which is
0.28.
0.028. Good job. What's T? 3 years. So let's see how much interest is earned. 1,000 times 0.028 times 3, $84. Okay, so option 1, you earned $84. You just no.
I just looked at the numbers and I guessed which one.
Well, this is good review for the final exam as well. Right? Final exam, you might be asked to show your work for these. A equals P times 1 plus I to the N. Principal amount, 1,000. 1 plus interest rate, 0.028, but it's compound interest. So what do I have to do? By 12, because it's monthly. Yeah, and then what about time? 3 years, but again, it's monthly times, right? So remember, interest divide the timing times. So yeah, so do this all in the calculator. 1,000 times bracket 1 plus bracket 0.028 divided by 12. Close the bracket, raise to the exponent 36. 1087.52. Okay, so how much interest is earned? How much interest is earned? $87. We didn't earn $1,000 in interest?
No, because the 1,000 is the initial amount.
Yeah, the $1,000 was yours. Yeah, so you have to subtract your principal amount. So you only earned $87.52 interest. All right, not 1,087. Sorry. And then third one, annually. Okay, so Again, compound interest, but annually. 1 plus I to the power of n. So 1,000 times 1 plus 0.028. What do I divide by? What do I divide this by? 1, because it's annually. And we know that anything divided by 1 is just itself. So that's why we just left it that. And 3 years annually, so times 1. Okay, so that's why it's just that. So 1,000 times 1 plus 0.028 to the power of 3. 1,086 and 37 cents. So again, the interest earned on this one, yeah, $86, 37 cents. Okay. Option 1 earns the greatest amount of interest. Does it? Nope. It's actually the least. And normally, simple interest will earn you least. Alright, so if you wanted to do the Mohini way and guess, then yeah, simple interest usually earns less.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that. That's why I used that.
Yeah, so yeah. But I wanted, because I have 2 minutes, I wanted to do the math.
That took more than 2 minutes.
Oh. So option 3 is an example of linear growth. No. Well, no. Whenever it's compound interest, it's not linear. Simple interest is linear. So you get a line. When you graph it, you get a line. But compound interest, you don't get a line if you were to graph it. Right. Option 2 earns more interest than option 3. Yep, by about $1. So yes, this is it. And then option 3 earns more interest than option 1. Yep, we do, by $2. And again, since the question says select a 2 true statement, make sure you don't select just 1. Make sure you don't select 3. Okay, so just 2. And so the Mohini way, since she ruled this out, that means now if she was short on time, she's choosing 2 out of the 3, which is a pretty good odds. Okay, and yes, this question did take more than 2 minutes. That's okay. Usually with EQAO, if this question takes longer, another question will take shorter. But you have a whole hour, and remember, actually not a whole hour. You have more than an hour. Over and out. There's no time limit, remember, for EQAO. Okay, so we did the second part. How many questions was that one? 15 to 27? 15, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So out of 13, these 13 questions, remember 70% to pass? You would have needed 10. You would have needed 10 or more to get that 70%. How many of you got 10 or more correct? That was less than yesterday. 11 or more. 12 or more. Ooh, all 13 correct. 1 person only? Okay, good job, Sean. But yeah, I thought the second half, stage 2, was harder than stage 1 questions. But overall, though, like in this first section, so what we did for the last 2 days, the 27 questions would have been 1 hour's worth of work. Okay, so all those pages, all this right here, from question 1 to 27, this would have been 1 hour's worth of work. And overall, you would have needed 19 out of 27 to pass EQAO. And this is only part 1. All right. So for these 27 questions, how long did it take you? Do you think it took you less than 1 hour? More than 1 hour for all 27 questions. All right, let me ask that again because apparently I only have 3 people in my class. For all these 27 questions, did it take you less than 1 hour? Okay, thank you, Annie. More than 1 hour. Okay, so for the majority of you, you said less than 1 hour. That's good. That's the timing that you should aim for. And remember, on the actual EQAO day next week, you have to do this 2 times.
When is it? Next week, Tuesday?
Next week, Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
So next week, Monday, Tuesday is just normal school.
Yeah.
And then starting from Wednesday,
It's exam.
just week.
Well, once you finish, then it's free week.
But then semester 2 starts now.
On February 2nd. So like, you have a few days to recoup. Yeah. On days when you don't have exams and on days when you finish your exams, you're free. So for example, on the Wednesday after EQAO, you can go home. There's no more class, no more school. And then Thursday, you come to school again in the morning, and then after the math exam, you go home. Yeah, so you don't have to stay at school. Okay, so I have about 10 minutes left. I do want to take up a few more. Alright, so your homework for tonight and tomorrow, you're to finish the whole booklet, the rest of this booklet up to page 39 by tomorrow night. Okay. So on Friday, I'm gonna do homework check on the whole booklet.